Hey, sexy people, I want to talk about something that I find a bit agitating. And if you're in a polyamorous, polygynous, or polyandrous relationship, or you're thinking about entering one, I need you to hear this before you make a mistake that hurts somebody and or everybody. We need to talk about the veto. So for those who aren't familiar, a veto is a non-monogamous relationship is when one partner has the power to end another partner's outside relationship. Just like that, done over because, well, they said so. Sounds like a reasonable safety net, right? Sounds protective. Sounds like it keeps the primary relationship secure. It's not. It doesn't. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. But before we go further, hi, I'm Taylor K. Sparks, your ethical non-monogamy coach and sex goddess. And I have 17 years of both professional and personal lived and loved experience in ethical non-monogamy. So one thing that people seem to forget, the moment jealousy shows up, the other person in the relationship, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the partner, the metamor, whoever they are not a puppy you just picked up at the dog pound. You cannot just return them when it gets inconvenient. And I hear some of you grumbling, oh, yes, I can, because, if I say this issue is over, it's over. But this is a human being with a job, with a life, with their own family, their own friends, their own emotional world. A person who made themselves vulnerable. A person who opened their heart. A person who, in many cases, has restructured their entire life to be part of this relationship. That includes you and your partner. People have moved cities for this. People have turned down other relationships for this. People have said no to other opportunities, other connections, other paths, because they were invested in something that felt real and stable and mutual. And then one person gets jealous, or one person gets scared. One person gets uncomfortable, or insecurity rises up in them, and the veto gets invoked. And just like that, they're gone. That person's feelings don't factor in, their sacrifices don't factor in, their love doesn't factor in, because someone else's discomfort outweighed their entire humanity. That is not ethical relationship management. That is fear management with someone else paying the bill. And I want you to think about something. When you're in a monogamous relationship or marriage and you hit a hard season, jealousy, disconnection, insecurity, resentment, grief, whatever it is, what do? You work on it. You go to therapy or coaching. You have hard conversations. You sit in the discomfort. You figure out what you actually need underneath the thing that's hurting. And you do the work together because the relationship matters. Nobody says, I feel jealous, so this marriage needs to end. Nobody says, I felt disconnected last week, so I'm invoking my veto on our 20-year partnership. Okay, well, maybe some of you have. But most of you work through it. Because that is what commitment means. Polyamory, polygyny, polyandry, these relationships deserve the same rigor, the same willingness to sit in discomfort, the same commitment to figuring out what's actually going on rather than just making the uncomfortable thing disappear. The veto is the opposite of that work. The veto says, I don't like how this feels. And instead of examining why I feel this way, instead of growing, instead of doing anything hard, I'm just going to make it stop. That is not a relationship skill. That is a shortcut that someone else pays for. And let's be really clear about what this looks like from the outside. Imagine you are the person who receives the veto. You didn't do anything wrong. The relationship was good. Your partner, the person you love, the person you built something with calls and says, yeah, my other partner isn't comfortable. I have to end this. Not, let's work through this. Not, let's all sit down and figure out what's going on. Not, I want to understand what I'm feeling and whether it's actually about you or about me. Just, it's over. Because somebody else decided it is. You don't get a conversation. You don't get to be considered. You don't get to matter. Your feelings, your investment, your love, your sacrifices, they are simply not part of the equation. How is that ethical? How is that loving? How is that anything we would accept in any other relational context? And here is the deeper issue. Jealousy is not a verdict. Jealousy is information. When jealousy shows up in a relationship, any relationship, it is telling you something about an unmet need, an old wound, a fear, an insecurity. It's an invitation to look under your hood, like your check engine light, to ask, what do I actually need right now? What am I afraid of? What does this feeling have to teach me? The veto weaponizes that invitation. Instead of turning inward, it turns outward at the other relationship, at the other person, and says, the problem is out there, and I can make that go away. You cannot. You will not make that person go away. The feeling will follow you because the feeling was never about the person. It was about something in you that needed attention. And now you've lost the relationship and kept the unexamined wound. That is a really, really terrible trait. Now, I want to be fair because nuance matters. There are absolutely situations where a relationship and a polyamorous structure should end. If there is abuse, physical, emotional, coercive, if there are genuine safety concerns, if someone has been dishonest in ways that break fundamental trust, if the relationship has run its natural course and both people agree, it's complete. Those are legitimate reasons. My partner is jealous is not one of them. I'm uncomfortable is not one of them. This is harder than I expected. It's not one of them. Those are reasons to do the work, not reasons to flip a switch and in someone else's relationship as though it belongs to you. Now, I want to be honest about the nuance here because not all non-monogamy is the same. If you are brand new to ethical non-monogamy, exploring recreationally, like there's no established attachment, no shared history, no restructured lives, mutual agreement before moving forward with a new person, it's just common sense communication. Nobody's life is at stake yet. Nobody has built something that can be dismantled. That is very different from an established polyamorous relationship where real love, real commitment, and real life decisions are involved. So the problem is when people carry the casual recreational framework into serious polyamory, polyandry, polygyny, whichever one it is, when they treat an established partner the way you'd cancel plans with an acquaintance. You cannot do that. You should not do that. These are not interchangeable contexts. If you're practicing polyamory or any of the polys, if people have built real lives inside relational structure, the veto framework does not belong there. Full stop. So, what do you do when jealousy hits? When fear shows up? When you're in your feelings and the easiest thing feels like making the other relationship stop? You ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Not what do I want to take away from someone else? What do I need? Security, reassurance, more time with my partner, a conversation about where I stand, an acknowledgement that I matter. Those are real needs, and they have real answers that don't require dismantling someone else's life to meet them. You have a conversation with your partner about what's going on for you without making that other person the villain of a story they don't even know that they're in. You do the work the same way you would in any relationship worth having. So here is what I want from you to take away from all of this. The people in your relational world are not accessories to your primary relationship. They are not extras in your story. They are not there to enhance your relationship and fulfill your kingdom or queendom quota. They are full human beings who showed up, opened up, and trusted you with something real. They deserve to be treated that way even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You don't quit in monogamy the moment that things get difficult. Don't apply a lower standard to the people who've trusted you, right? They've trusted you enough and trusted you differently. The veto is a shortcut. and it costs something. It costs someone else everything, I should say. So do better. Your relationships, all of them deserve better. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're navigating these conversations in your own life and you need support, DM me, Coach, and I will send you a way that we can talk privately. Until next time, your love, your rules, and your freedom. Bye-bye.